Welcome back, everybody, to episode 37 of the Jader and Kyle Show. We are back, everyone, coming at you with another fresh episode. As always, I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, Mr. Jader. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm doing good.
Yeah. How's
Had a
everything going for you?
little bit of it's been a busy week, man. I've been on a couple shows since the draft,
Oh, that's right. You got drafted.
Yeah, I got drafted, man. I mean, I'm a dead member now, and we got a killer squad. I can't wait for the season to start. And a couple shows have been reaching out, which has been great. The outpour of love on the actual stream was amazing too. So love that. It was actually it's very humbling that I actually have fans, like people that
Right?
like legit care. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. It's so great. And
How was it? Were people like, why is he still on the board? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, some guy tweeted, and I forget the name, and I hate it, so I'm shouting him out, but they're like, Jader being available in the fourth round is nonsense. Like, what the fuck is going on? And that was like a hashtag that was going around was like, what the fuck? Because everyone was like, there was a lot of people still on the board because it was like a rookie come out, dude. Like everybody was just grabbing these rookies. I give them a lot of props, to be honest, with these rookies because they really put a name out there for themselves. And obviously they come. Steve was a spammer that night. It was fucking great. But a lot of these rookies put themselves out there. And as soon as Christian Harloff was like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to let these rookies go on these shows and talk yourselves up to make sure you're noticed." And these guys, just they seized the moment and they did it. And I want to say a lot of them was that, to be honest with you, that just that their name and where they come from, their history. Because again, like I come from a background where I just like movies, but I've never been on a show or anything, right? These guys actually do go to trivia competitions or online or Star Wars competitions, and they're like the best of the best, and they did, they made a name for themselves. So I obviously you get upset when a rookie gets pissed off, gets upset when a rookie gets picked over you. But once you see the caliber of what they bring, you can't even get that mad. As long as you're in a killer squad, like it doesn't matter at the end, So I was very happy.
I was pissed for you. I'm watching this. And like none of these guys know what they're doing yet. Like Jader's made his name in the Schmodown already. He's got a couple wins under his belt. You've been out there quite a bit. How come these no names are getting picked before you? I thought it was stupid, but whatever. And plus, all the people that were like, "No, we got you on our list. Like, trust me, man, we got you." I was like, "Oh, you shitheads!" Like, it was so frustrating because like we had hyped you up so much, and then suddenly it's like, "Oh no, fourth round, that's where Jader's gonna fall." And then people afterwards are like, "We were going to take you, man. We were right. You were right there. We were going to take you." It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. Honestly, couldn't have gone better for me, to be completely honest with you. As much love as I have for certain people in some factions, which will remain nameless for now, I'm kind of glad that I am in a team where I can still shine and I can be considered, a very strong player for that faction. Because I was telling this to Christian, where it feels like it's the NBA right now. Like we're building all these super teams, right? And everybody wants to, go over here and they're just and then this one squad has all these players, and so on and so forth. So I feel like we have very, very strong players in our team. We have hungry rookies, which, I manage to do a study session, and, they're good. I like what I saw yesterday, and I like the team that we built, or the kid built, right?
Yeah.
And I can't say too much, but I know that Kate is known, or my team is known for having the best draft, but a lot of people are still, questioning. We don't know what these players can do, this and that. And that. We got a squad on us, man. Like very, very, very hungry individuals that I cannot wait till this thing starts because we're coming out swinging.
That's awesome. And I'm happy for you that you're in the league, and you just got to find your footing, and you'll take off from here. Anything else you want to talk about before we get started here? We got a very special guest coming on.
For sure. It's been a chill week, to be honest with you. I picked up video games again. I haven't played in a while. I feel bad that I got a PS5 and haven't been using it because again, both games that I got on the PS5, I beat like right away.
I wouldn't be saying
So I've
that
been
on live on a live podcast. I got a PlayStation 5 that I don't even use.
yeah, but
Right?
but yeah. But I picked up again the Star Wars, the Jedi Fallen Order. I finally beat that game. That game is pretty hard. I wanted to throw my remote. Maybe I just suck. I don't know, but I felt like that was it was a pretty difficult game for me. And then I'm picking up The Last of Us 2. So I'm on that right now. Just, having a chill week until I got to go back to work on Monday. So that's what I've been up to. And obviously watching movies. So,
Well, I got fired last week, so there's that.
Jesus Christ, I forgot about that. You know what? This whole time I'm asking you for your schedule. You're like, yeah, I'm good with that. And I'm like, bro, I keep forgetting this guy doesn't work. Fuck,
No,
it's
funny
dude.
though. I actually got hired today, so I got a quick turnaround. I'm back to work Monday, so
perfect, dude. That's
everything's
awesome.
good. But yeah. In case people aren't unaware, I got fired last week, and now I'm back in the job market. So everything kind of was a whirlwind. How it all happened. It's a combination of a bunch of things that I probably shouldn't disclose on here, but. I'm back on. I'm doing good. I had a rough couple of days, but I'm feeling good now. It's nice to get. It feels like I just had a week off at this point because now I go back to work Monday, and actually I'm in a better position now. So everything's working out good, but doing good over here, guys. Otherwise, we're gonna introduce our esteemed guest on this show, and that is someone that you're very familiar with if you watch the Pop Culture Pros Network. He's on, I feel like, every single show at this point. I don't think there's one show he hasn't been on. And here's our guest, Mr. Tim Tabala. Tim, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? What is going on? I'm not on every show. Not everyone.
It feels like it, right?
Most of them, though. I try to get around. I try to jump around as much as possible.
Tim,
that's awesome.
It's been so cool having you on this network because I feel like your face does pop up everywhere, and you're always such a great guest. Every time I tune in, I'm like, oh, there's Tim, and Tim's just having the time of his life. You're doing your same things, chilling out in your chair. You got your Star Wars stuff in the back. It's cool. You got a lot of stuff to bring to the table, so I'm happy to bring you back on the show.
Thank you, man. It's awesome to be. I'm glad I got my own episode, so to speak, and I'm real pumped up about it. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Do you want to tell Kyle how this happened?
How this happened?
How it finally happened, actually. So I was watching Eric's show, and he was interviewing Nardo, and it was a great episode. I actually loved the A to Z show. There you go. Hello from the A to Z program. There he is. Speaking of the devil. So I actually loved that episode, right? And I tuned in. It was just the questions he had, the douchebag thing. Everything was just awesome. Tim popped up in there. I'm like, of course he did. He's in there. But I had never really spoken to Eric. Comments here and there, but I even thought I had him as a friend on Facebook, and I didn't. So I was like, "Fuck, man, let me bring." Not Tim. Eric. So I'm like, "Let me bring Eric on the show." Tim goes, over my fucking dead body. You're bringing him before you bring me, and I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right, dude. I could have sworn since we've had you on the show that you've had your episode, but I'm like, no, Tim's never been like the one and only guest. He's always been like part of a group thing. And I'm like, hey, you know what, man? You're next, man. Don't worry about it. We got you. And
I did the 4-hour Marvel extravaganza.
Yeah, I know. That was enough, bro. That's why I figured I'm surprised you wanted to come back after that.
Oh, of course. And then I popped up here and there, as much as possible. I love popping. I tell Steve all the time, I'll do every show you want me to do. Every one. I don't care. I have no life. I'm here all the time, and I just love, I love talking about all this stuff that we talk about. So it's great, especially movies. Now, I'm part of a football show, a wrestling show, and a baseball show, and yet movies are like my number one because there's no off season. There's no off season.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was gonna say for sure.
You somehow became the sports guy out of nowhere, even though you're a movie fan.
That's okay. I said that. That's why I love watching you guys. I get very excited when you guys do one of my favorites. So that's why I always typing stupid shit in every 5 seconds because I get so like you guys did Dumb and Dumber, and you did what was the other one?
My favorite comedy of all time, the best comedy of all time.
And then you did I Love You, Man. It was another one of my favorites. I was all excited and popped up, but I didn't want to just jump in and be like, I gotta get on the show. I was like, no, I'll just sit back and make my comments and be good. Wait my time.
Dude, let me tell you. It's funny because Ed popped up on the show right now, and he said, "Cross your fingers for Magneto." That's how I felt on the last episode of the Granny Speech Tea show. I was just so excited and just like throwing them left and right, the comments, and I'm like, "Fuck, bro, get me on the goddamn show. I want to talk right now." You know. So
trivia. I haven't been on Grannies yet. You want to know why? I'm actually a Granny OG. We actually did that show on another network before. But I don't want to go popping up on that show yet because, like I said, I've popped up on enough. So I'm giving them let them get their footing, let them get their audience, let everything go, and then I'll probably pop up on there too eventually.
That's Granny Speech Tea, a brand new show on this network. Tim, you were on here to destroy Wonder Woman 1984. It's got to be one of your best moments in this entire network. Have you seen anything lately, Tim, that you've had very strong opinions on? Anything that you're frustrated at or that you really enjoyed?
Well, see, now first of all, that's another reason I wanted to come on the show with one of my movies that I enjoy, because I don't want to get the reputation of being the old man who comes on. I hate this story.
This movie sucks.
I think that's me at this point.
Yeah, it really is, Kyle.
I didn't want that reputation. I don't want the reputation. But Wonder Woman bugged me. I mean,
deservedly so. I think this whole panel hated Wonder Woman 84. So
yeah,
we don't blame you there.
Lately, no, I haven't actually been seeing anything new lately. I'm waiting for all the HBO Max stuff to start popping up. Godzilla, King Kong, and I'm even ready to watch Tom and Jerry at this point. You
didn't see the little things?
No, I haven't seen that yet. Not yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it because many.
I read the review. I read someone's review about it, so
it's bad. It's really bad. Like, damn, like Denzel Washington. You don't let Denzel Washington be Denzel Washington. Like, you have these three amazing actors. Rami Malek doesn't even know how to act in this movie. Like, just completely miscast. It's just so frustrating that they have so many great elements and just wasted them all. Can you imagine having a mystery movie where the mystery is just not solved at the end? Like, come on.
That would drive me crazy.
That would drive me nuts. Yeah, I told him when he's like, "Yeah, nothing gets solved." I was like, "Yeah, fuck you."
And it's over 2 hours long, so they just keep you there. Like Zodiac, we knew that was going to happen, but in this movie, well, actually, Zodiac does resolve it in a way.
In a way. I was actually going to bring up Zodiac, but I actually enjoyed the hell out of Zodiac because it has great writing, great acting, and I hated Zodiac the first time I saw it, but I saw it with a different set of eyes. When I first saw Zodiac, I was into movies. I've always been into movies since like the 90s, but I don't know why I thought I was going to see like a serial killer not documentary, but like a very like kind of like Seven, a murder mystery film, right? Especially since it was a Fincher film and it was very slow paced. So the first time I saw Zodiac, I absolutely hated it. Got around to it probably like 4 or 5 years later. Unsolved Mysteries is the worst show ever. Touche, sir. But yeah, so I was seeing it with a different set of eyes and a little bit more mature. I ended up loving the fuck out of Zodiac after that. So it's one of his better films in my opinion. So, but yeah. Sorry. So Tim, you're on the show, but you, like we said earlier before, you've never been on your own episode. And if you're familiar with our format, we usually, talk to the guests right before we jump into the actual movie we're going to talk about, just so our viewers can get to know you a little bit, even though you've been around everywhere. I'm sure they know who you are, but you haven't been on this show. So walk us through how you started with us, with this network. What's going on? How did you meet Steve and friends, and so on and so forth?
For me, it was by accident. I was on Facebook one day. My friend Keith, who was on the Put in the Book show with Steve, there's his face on this video, on this podcast. I said, what the hell is Keith doing on a podcast? So I turned it on. It was Put in the Books. And I realized he was doing this show for over a year. And I had no idea that Keith was on this show. So I started watching it. I was laughing. I was like, holy shit, that's Keith. That's my friend. I've known him almost 40 years. We grew up on the same street together in Woodside, in Queens. Excuse me. So I said, let me watch. So then I watched, and I said, you know what? I got to call in. Even though I'm not a Mets fan, I'm going to call in. I called in. I had a good repertoire with the guys, especially Keith and Steve kind of liked me. And then for some reason, out of nowhere, they were talking about Michael Jackson one day. So I called in as Michael Jackson. I did a very bad Michael Jackson impersonation. I did the South Park Michael Jackson impersonation of Michael Jackson. And
That's
then
awesome.
it became almost like a weekly thing where I would call in as Michael Jackson and just call them all ignorant and stupid. And, and that's how that started. And then, we got into wrestling, and that's how my first thing. Steve said, would you want to do a wrestling show? I said, hell yeah. Not only would I want to do it, I have the perfect guy to do it with. And that turned out to be Eric. And everything's a history. So, that's how it all started. Now I'm super excited.
Well, Tim, I want to know about you more too. Like that whole story of you coming on here. Like, I'm glad that you are part of us. But like you yourself, you live in New York. You're not even down here in Florida with the rest of us. You live in New York. So please tell us what it's like being up there right now. How'd you get started loving movies? Because this is a movie show. So please let us know what movies really brought you into where you are today.
That's super easy. That's the Star Wars trilogy. That's how it all started for me.
I should have guessed.
Yeah.
I was at the first one. I was 2 years old and I saw the first. I don't remember it, but I was in the theater at 2 years old for the Star Wars original movie, and it must have sunk in because that's it ever since then. And then my parents were cool with letting me watch stuff and letting me. They weren't nudity, not nudity. They weren't into that stuff, but I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street and The Exorcist and all these movies as a young kid. And they were like, are you scared of it? Are you this? I was like, no, I'm cool. I can deal with the violence and the this and that. And it just became an obsession. And that's like me and my son. That's our one thing that we love to do together. Every movie that comes out, I take him. Marvel movie, I'm taking him. Star Wars movie, I'm taking him. Any kind of movie like that, we're going. I just love the whole experience.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, we actually mentioned that on this show. My upbringing, same thing. My mom had a thing for nudity. If it was like distastefully done, I wasn't allowed to watch it. But
it's a poor choice of words.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. But violence never seemed to freaking bother her, dude. Like, I watched RoboCop growing up with all the blood splats everywhere, and Terminator. She took me to see Terminator 2 in the theater. I saw Terminator 2 in the theater. And it just never. As long as I had no nudity, I was good to go. So it's funny you said that because I grew up the same exact way. But the 80s were a lot different too, if you think about it. I was actually Googling like movies that are PG that should be PG-13 or rated R. Obviously Jaws is infamous for that. Poltergeist is infamous for that. There's a bunch of PG films that, but PG-13 movies didn't exist back then. My mom had a thing for nudity. Jader Bramo, Pop Culture Pros. You fucking dickhead.
You ain't gonna live that down.
But yeah, dude, that's it. This is forever in the internets now, dude.
You're gonna put that on a shirt.
There might be a T-shirt soon.
Pop Culture Pros. I better get some royalties out of that shit.
All right.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom took me a lot. I saw I'm older than you guys are. But I saw Karate Kid in the theater, Gremlins. And these are all my earliest memories were the movies. I remember Empire Strikes Back vividly, and I was only 5. Vividly, because in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, my uncle worked at the only theater in that little area. My cousin picked me up. We went in there. It was a double feature, which they don't do anymore. It was My Bodyguard, which is an awesome movie if you haven't seen it, and Empire Strikes Back. And my uncle would walk in for free, give us popcorn, give us soda, sat there. We watched Empire Strikes Back, My Bodyguard, and then Empire Strikes Back again. And just sat there all day, watched all 3 times in a row. He would pop in and go, "You guys good? Yeah. You guys good? Yeah." That was it. One of the greatest memories I've ever had. It's vivid. It is I couldn't tell you what I did a week ago, but I could tell you 1980 what I watched those 2 movies back to back all day long. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's funny because I just got to see Empire Strikes Back in theaters for the first time in theaters this past year. So, which has been one of the good things about the pandemic is in these smaller towns where theaters are open, they're showing older movies. So I got to see stuff on the big screen that I never had the opportunity to because, yes, I'm younger than you guys. I got to see Empire Strikes Back and Saving Private Ryan and Gladiator and Back to
I saw Saving Private Ryan the first day it came out in theater, actually.
Oh, really?
I was there opening day to go see that movie. Yeah.
See, so like, I never got to see these things on a big screen, but getting to see Empire Strikes Back was one of the best ones that I got to do because, and it's funny too, because most of these movies I went to go see with everybody, or I went to go see, I was by myself, but Empire Strikes Back, there was a good group of people in there during a pandemic who made their way to go see Empire Strikes Back in theaters during all this happening. And it just shows you that love that Star Wars has that is stretched across everybody. Tim, I know one of the big things that you've done on this network is you covered The Mandalorian when that was happening on the Empire show. So please, we never got to have a discussion on this show about The Mandalorian. I know Jader, you're a big fan of it too. We got to hear what Tim thought of it, right? Like, Tim, what was your thoughts on the ending? Yeah,
I mean, I beyond loved it. Catching again when you're like me, I catch all the Easter eggs, and then the Easter eggs are what gets me most excited. I'm like, holy shit, that's this thing. That's from this one. That's from this, and I'm catching them every one of them. So like with WandaVision, I don't know all the Easter eggs. I have to go back and maybe check it out afterwards. But this Mandalorian, I catch them. Bam, bam. I was catching them left and right, and that's what I love about that show. They're fan servicing without shoving it down your throat. Yep, that's such a great show. And the one thing I can honestly say is I'm not one of these. I'm not going to bash the new movies. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how bad they are and curse Disney and damn you and ruining my childhood and all that stuff. But I will say one thing. The Mandalorian really screwed up the new trilogy for me. Because it's like, wait a minute. That could have been that good? Those movies could have been as good as this freaking TV show? So now I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe those last two. I still like The Force Awakens. But the last two movies, I'm like, all right, now I'm a little more judgmental because The Mandalorian was so damn good. And that last episode of season 2, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it.
So I was going to bring that up to you. Walk me through that moment.
Yeah. You don't have to say spoiler alert because if you're watching the show and you haven't seen it in The Mandalorian, like you don't care at this point.
Yeah,
that's true.
So
that is true.
I walk me through the moment where they're in the room and you see that one X-Wing. What went through your mind at that very moment? Did you know it was Luke, or did you think it was going to be somebody else? Or
I was thinking it was Luke, but then again, I was like, they can't do it yet. They can't do it. And don't forget, this is how obsessive I was. I was up at the show launched at 3. I was up at 3. I got up at 3 o'clock to watch the show. I went back to sleep, and then I'd watch it again later on in the day. So it's 3 a.m.
You went back to sleep?
Yes, I went back to sleep. Dude, I love my sleep. If I can go catch another hour and a half before I have to go to work, I can catch that hour and a half. I can catch 10 minutes. Like I'll sleep right now for 10 minutes. You can wake me up and I'll be good to go in 10 minutes. That's how I do it. But so we're talking 3 a.m. and I'm watching. And again, it's another great episode. I'm like, wow, this is so great. And then you see the X-Wing. I'm like, no. And then the hooded cloak, and I'm like, no. Plus, I love how they kept it. The first monitor, they kept it in black and white, so you can't see the color of the lightsaber.
You can't see the lightsaber exactly. Because the first thing Steph said was, "It's Luke." I was like, "No fucking way, it's Luke. It's too early." I told her that. I'm like, "There's no way." And then when he's wielding the lightsaber, you see it. Obviously, it's black and white. It looks white. I'm like, "Oh, it's maybe a Ahsoka or some shit."
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be another Legends character, someone they're bringing in. But then once it turned to color and you saw the green, and then you figure, oh my God!
And you see his glove, man. So
yeah, and I'm like, this is the hallway. This is the Rogue One tribute to Darth Vader hallway scene that we're getting. And I was probably like just more in shock than anything. And then when he pulled the hood off, I was like, oh my! I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say or do. I was just like sitting here like in shock. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they pulled this off.
It was so good for me that I didn't care how wonky the CGI looked on Luke's face. I did not care at that point.
Because you know what? We just got a 4K TV. I know we're late to the thing.
No, I just got mine too when the PS5 came out, so don't worry about it. It
actually looks worse on 4K.
Yes.
That's the first thing I went to. When we hooked the TV up, I said, she goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go I went right to Mandalorian. I'm putting that scene on. And I was like, oh no, it looks bad. I was like, oh no, it looks bad. It looked better on my iPhone.
It looks too good. That's why it's too crisp. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's funny in that last episode, I was excited when I saw Luke, and then I was like on the verge of tears watching The Mandalorian and Grogu, I guess his name is, say goodbye to each other, and then R2 comes rolling out, and I just bawled. Like at that point, that's when I lost it, because like R2 is that character that's like your best friend. He's gonna stick around with you no matter what. So I wasn't even expecting it, but to see him come rolling up at the end is just like the cherry on top of that episode. So
and R2's seen some shit, man. R2's memory's never been wiped. He has seen some shit over his lifetime. C-3PO memory's been wiped probably who knows how many times. R2 knows everything. That's why he's the MVP of that that universe. Actually, look, where's I'm doing if you can see it. I have an R2D2 tattoo right here.
Oh yeah,
and it says MVP. It says MVP on it. That's how I felt about R2 there. But yeah, the Mandalorian, it blew me away completely. That whole season with Boba Fett, with Ahsoka Tano, I was just like, I don't know if I can take much more of this episode, the show. And
and they brought it every single episode, man. Because that first episode we get Timothy Oliphant with the Boba Fett suit, and you have that big epic fight, and I'm like, dude, this is the first fucking episode of the season, man. Like, what are these fuckers doing? And then you get the only problem that I get, it's not even a complaint, but I guess if I have to start nitpicking, it felt like the first couple episodes were more of that Mario and Toad relationship. Like, the princess is not in this castle. If you go to this castle, maybe you'll be able to find her. I felt like it was a lot of that. Like, hey,
we're going here now.
Mandalorian. I know, I hear your favor, but you got to do something for me first. And then when the thing's like, oh yeah, well, that favor you need is in this planet now. You're like, what the fuck, dude? I just fucking killed a bunch of people for you. Hook it up.
I agree with that.
But Mario, it's the only complaint, to be completely honest with you. That's it. What happened, Con?
That's a Mario and Toad. I've never heard that reference before.
Mario and Toad relationship.
I never realized it. One last thing, Tim, that I want to ask you about is we were just talking about before we came on the show that you work at ABC doing maintenance over there. And so you've probably gotten to see some crazy things over there. What shows premiere in New York at the ABC station?
Well, I used to work at we just switched buildings. Disney just sold off our building. They're going to build an entire new 3 or 4 block superstructure for all their shows and studios. About 5 or 6 years, I think, it's supposed to come. So for now, they're shutting down all their other buildings. So we had to move. But in my old building, when I first got there, I was in heaven because we had The View, we had Dr. Oz, and we had random shows being shot there. Impractical Jokers, that show was filmed there. A couple episodes. We had a bunch of stuff in and out. So
I love that show.
Yeah,
Impractical Jokers is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
But the View, before it became all political and just screaming at each other, when they actually had guests on and stuff, and Jenny McCarthy was there. And I'll tell you a quick story. It was my first week there. And so we're sitting there and the guys, I hear on the radio, Jenny McCarthy needs something moved in her dressing room. I went, I'll go. And they're like, you want to go? I was like, I want to go. And I went over there and I walk in and there she is. I'm like, so the back of your head, I'm like, holy shit, it really is her. Like, you didn't expect to see her.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know this is her room, but you didn't expect it. I was like, holy shit, it really is her. And I was like, hi, you need something? She's like, I need this moved. So I just kicked her thing over, swept a little bit, walked out. I was like, holy shit, that was Jenny McCarthy. And as I'm walking out, I bump into what's her name? American Idol girl who has her talk show. Kelly Clarkson. Yeah, I run into her. And she has a towel over her head. She's doing.
If you guys don't know who Jenny McCarthy is, she was smoking hot back in the day.
Yeah, So I used to time it. I used to sit in the office and watch The View, and then if it was someone I liked, I knew how long it took them to get from there into the parking garage, and I would run down and take a picture or pretend I'm holding the door open for them just to say hello. And I met a couple cool people. Some are assholes, some are cool. Seth Green, phenomenal guy. He actually stopped and we talked, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. He was a great dude. Garth Brooks, phenomenal. Stopped, talked to me, asked me questions, signed a CD for my wife. He was outstanding. I met his wife too a week later. She was also found. Country people are the nicest people. Country music people, nicest beyond.
I've grown a new love for country music. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to hate that shit, and I'm like the biggest country fan right now. It's just like a new thing that I'm like, new venture I'm on, and I'm just like picking up new country singers. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Garth was a big deal for me, especially. I was a little shaky after I got to meet him. It was pretty awesome. But of course, the biggest one, I'll tell you the quick story was we're sitting around, really just hanging out, and the electrician comes by and goes, hey, Luke Skywalker's over there. And I said, what? Just like that. He goes, and I go, Frank, what'd you say? He goes, oh, Luke Skywalker's over at the other building. I go, because our buildings were connected by a big alley. It's like hard to explain, but anyway, I was in one building, he was in the other. I'm like, what do you mean he's there? He's like, yeah, he's over there. He's shooting something in the whole. They weren't even shooting The View. They were shooting their own TV show. It was on Pop. I don't remember the name of it. That's not important. Yeah, he's over there right now. And I said, I said, Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill. He's like, yeah. I told my foreman, I'm going. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm going over there, and I'm not coming back until I meet Mark Hamill. And he goes, who the hell is that? I said, that's Luke Skywalker. I am not coming back. I am not doing
You see
any
this
work.
2v2 tattoo over here?
Yeah. I said, I'm not doing any work. I am not coming back until I meet this guy. So I walk over there in another building, and I met one of the ladies producer, and I said, hi, how you doing? And I was like, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm here to meet Mark Hamill. And she starts laughing. She goes, yeah, I felt the same way when he first came in. And she starts talking about stars. I said, well, I'm going to be hanging around. Don't think I'm crazy or anything. I'm just going to hang around. And she goes, yeah, no problem. So they shoot that. I said, I'm watching through this little hole. I have a cool picture of that too, but I can't find that one. He did like a whole Luke thing where he pulled the hood off and turned around, looked at the camera. And I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. So anyway, they yell rap. The door's open. He comes out. And I swear to God, I was fucking 6 years old again. I was like, I don't know what to do. Usually with celebrities, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. What's going on? I shake your hand. I literally turned to Jello. I was like, holy shit, this is Luke Skywalker. So, and as he was walking by, I said, Mr. Hamill, he looked at me. I said, would you mind if I got a picture? He said, absolutely. And he came over. Let me pull it up here. And he said, absolutely. Again, super nice guy. I told him I waited 40 years to meet you. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. And I thought that was the coolest thing. So there's that picture.
That's incredible.
That's fucking awesome, dude. Look at that.
And then like not even 5 minutes later, J.J. Abrams walked out.
Jesus Christ, dude.
So I got to meet J.J. Abrams too. And that it probably easily was the greatest day of my life to that point. I was skipping. I was skipping out. Like, I told my friend,
this is coming out of a mouth of a guy that has kids. He said, Mark Hamill, the greatest day of my life.
Sorry, kids. I just met Luke Skywalker. Sorry. And I went back to my foreman. My foreman was like, did you meet this guy? I was like, I met him. I said, if you want to go home, I will do all the work for the rest of the day. That's what a good mood I was in. I said, you were patient with me because I wasn't coming back. I said, you can fire me tomorrow, but I'm not coming back until I meet the guy. And he's like, oh, just go. Just go. So I said, you want to go home? Go home, man. I'll do all the work for the rest. And I did. I did all the work for the rest of the day. And every time I stopped on the elevator, I'd look at the picture of me and Mark Hamill, like, yes, I got the fucking picture of Mark Hamill. So
that's amazing, dude. I have one more question before we move on to the actual.
I think I know what you're gonna say, Jader.
Oh, and this is another guy I stalked, by the way, twice. Right, we'll get into that too if you want.
All right. Let's see. Let's see if Kyle knows what I'm going to say. Go.
So is it reference to something that Tim said earlier?
Go.
Uh-oh.
You said there was assholes. Some celebrities are assholes.
Who are the assholes?
We want names.
I want names. Who are the assholes?
The assholes were the Duck Dynasty people were assholes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're assholes on the show. They're funny as hell.
Garth Brooks was nice. Barbara Walters, she's everything you think she is. You don't make eye contact with Barbara Walters. You don't. You just don't do it. You don't do it. She's just, and she could destroy you. She's like Jesus around that place. She will destroy you if she wants to. Who were the other assholes? You know what? I have such good things there. I don't remember all the assholes really. So Seth Green was good.
Give me a good one.
Sherry Shepherd was good. Jenny McCarthy was on the cusp. She was on the cusp. You got to get her on a good day. Shit, I don't really remember the assholes.
Steve says Josh Gad down here because I got to meet Josh Gad, and he wasn't an asshole to me, but he was an asshole to the people inside there. He was yelling at his family while we were like right before we were about to. Yeah.
Wow, that's a shock, Josh Gad.
You know what I heard? I heard Josh Gad was a dick before I walked in to interview him, and he was the nicest person to me.
Exactly. I had a great experience with him.
I had a great experience with Josh Gad. He was fantastic. Now,
I've
picture
heard about,
I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you first. You heard about what?
I wasn't there when this happened, but I guess when Ant-Man the Wasp was coming around, I heard bad stories about Evangeline Lilly. Like that she was
I hear that all the fucking time. I heard that.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time too. Jesus. No, I was gonna say that the picture I do have of Josh Gad, he doesn't look like the happiest person. He's like,
yes,
like let's get this shit over with. But overall, he was very nice, very very nice. That was a fun interview, to be honest with you.
Mike Tyson, very nice, scary, but very nice. And I met him twice actually. Scary, and his bodyguards are scary. I'll tell you again. Quick story. First time I met him, we were in Manhattan. We're coming out of a comedy club. It was late at night, and he pulled up on his tricycle, the big tricycle motorcycle he used to have. And my friend's like, "Holy shit, it's Mike Tyson!" And I'm like, "Oh, we run over." Not thinking anything. All of a sudden, the two cars, and one in front and one in back, open up. 30 guys pop out, and they're ready to kill us. And he was just like, "Hey, hey, Mike, hey, we're not going to hurt you. Hey, how you doing, champ?" And that was it. He shook our hands, drove off on his motorcycle. And the view, he was okay, but his bodyguards were all dicks. They wouldn't let you anywhere near him, anywhere even close to him. And that was a big day that day. That day had Kevin Hart. He was there. I saw him. He was all right. He was all right. Oh shit! I can't remember the assholes. I have such good memories. The assholes are kind of.
That's good. You just gotta
get rid of them.
I don't blame you. Oh well, I mean, so I hope that gives everyone an idea of Tim and his life. And Tim, I'm glad. Thank you for sharing some of those stories. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We want to get into the movie now, and Jader asked you for some of your favorite movies that you would love to talk about on the show. One of them was Empire Strikes Back. We ended up not putting it on here just because we know that would win immediately, and it's going to be probably a bigger episode when we finally talk Star Wars on this show, right, Jader?
Absolutely, 100%.
So we got a list of your movies. Let me tell you something right now. I'm not going to let this audience vote anymore. I don't like what our audience votes for, because the movie they ended up choosing was Dogma. By like doubling.
Speaking of non-assholes, Kevin Smith being known as one of the nicest people in the universe, we're gonna talk some Dogma today.
We're gonna talk Dogma, but I just want to say other movies on this list included Almost Famous and another Ben Affleck and Matt Damon movie that's clearly the superior film in Good Will Hunting. And I was really excited to talk about that because it was close at one moment, and then I wake up the next morning and suddenly
Dogma annihilated.
It. Yeah. So please, I gotta hear why. Why do you think people voted for this movie over Good Will Hunting and Almost Famous? Tim, I'll start with you.
Honestly, I don't know. That's a good, maybe because it's Kevin Smith. Maybe they like Kevin Smith. I thought Almost Famous was going to win also. I'm a little upset that Sleepers didn't get not one single vote.
Not one vote, dude. I almost gave it a vote.
I guess Kevin Bacon.
That's the other one. That's our.
I guess Kevin Bacon and sodomizing children wasn't on everybody's menu for the night. Because I don't know how I absolutely love Sleepers, and
that movie's fantastic, dude.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't get one vote. No, but you know what? I laughed because when Jada said give me 5 movies, I went into panic mode. I'm like, holy shit, 5? I can't pick 5 movies. What am I going to? How am I going to pick 5 movies? And after I gave the 5, I got 5 more. I'm like, shit, I should have picked these 5. Then I got 5 more. I'm like, no, I should have picked these 5. So I was like, you know what? Let me stick with the list. I was happy with the list. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was a very solid list, to be honest with you. I was like, you gave me some good shit.
I tried to be a little.
I honestly could have talked about any of those movies, any of them.
I even threw The Exorcist. When you pulled Empire, I said, well, how about Major League or The Exorcist? You didn't even put The Exorcist up there.
I am going to have an Exorcist. It's my favorite horror, so we're gonna dive really, really deep into The Exorcist. I'm just not ready to have the conversation right now. We will have the lights on.
Gotta have the lights on when you talk The Exorcist.
Absolutely.
You remember that one February episode where we talked to Exorcist? It just doesn't line up. To say, hey, remember around Valentine's Day when we talked about The Exorcist?
Exactly. That's why I'm like,
it doesn't feel right. But Dogma, Tim, please. Well, first of all, like I said, the audience, I'm getting really on the edge of letting you guys vote anymore because it's like this keeps happening. You guys pick movies like with The Fugitive and Point. Like I think Good Will Hunting has lost multiple times on these polls. I want to talk about the movie, but no one else.
The Social Network has lost multiple times until we're like, fuck it, we're gonna talk about it anyway, and we did a Social Network episode.
The Dark Knight has lost a bunch of times.
Yeah,
it's like the Dark Knight Rises too. You'd think the Batman fans would come out, but it's always something strange. And it's our audience is very unique, but it's also like when I see that list, I'm like, oh, this one's clearly gonna win. I can't wait to talk about this. And then Dogma wins. So please, Tim, Dogma. Why was this on your list? Why is this one of your favorite films?
Dogma more than a lot of people will say Clerks. Dogma for me is the one that hooked me into Kevin Smith. Admittingly so, Clerks didn't grab me at first. I was like, people this is overrated.
This is overrated shit. And then
what are you talking about?
It has replay value. That's what Clerks does. And the quotes get better and better every time you watch that movie. It's very weird.
So it didn't grab me, and I didn't see Mallrats. I skipped Mallrats. Dogma I happened to come upon after it was out because of Good Will Hunting. I'm like, well, if Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are so good in this, they got to be good in this movie. And it hooked me. It hooked me right away.
It's a different Matt and Ben.
That's what I'm saying. But it hooked me. It hooked me right away. It played with my emotions as far as religion and stuff goes. We can get into that in a little while. I just thought it was so damn clever, so damn well written. Can't really picture any actor in the movie that really flopped in it. I thought everyone was great in it. I would put this as one of my favorite Ben Affleck performances, especially. Okay, so we'll get to that too. Especially when he makes that switch in personality towards the end of the movie. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, Kevin Smith, this movie and his Evening with specials is what hooked me into him. And now I'm like, forget it. Now I'm like a diehard Kevin Smith guy. So yeah, I absolutely love this movie. It's probably still one of my favorites of his, if not the favorite.
I teeter-totter with which one of Kevin Smith movies are my favorite. This is definitely up there. It's definitely top 3 for me. Probably even top 2. Same thing with me. I saw Clerks at first. Then I saw Mallrats. Really liked Mallrats, but wasn't as obsessed. I ended up going back more to his films after Dogma. So when Dogma came out and I saw it, and it really grabbed me. There's a thing, again, and you mentioned it earlier with religion. I grew up a Catholic, right? In a house that's very, very strong in religion. You know, church on Sundays. You know, 3 o'clock prayers, like 3 p.m. prayer. My mom would set an alarm at 3 p.m. and be like, it's the Jesus hour. Pray to him and thank. It was very, very strict. I had a giant crucifix over my bed, and I shit you not, it's like probably like a good 3 or 4 feet crucifix over my bed, which is so hard when I started bringing girls in there, man, because I was like, bro, what the fuck am I doing, man?
That's a big Jesus staring at you. That's a big Jesus.
Dude. And no, I shit you not, it got so extreme. To my right of my bed, my mom had a picture of Jesus kneeling down, holding a baby fetus.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? Yes. That's the household I grew up in. So it was a baby fetus, and he's crying, and it was obviously a thing against abortion. So my mom was like, next time you have sex, you think about what you're doing. I'm telling you, it was rough, man. It was rough. So I remember watching this movie, and my mom caught wind of what this movie was, and she's like, I don't want you to watch it. Don't ever tell a kid, don't watch this movie, because I'm going to fucking watch it. That's what ended up happening. I was 13 years old when this movie came out. And I love the kind of message in the beginning, you were too. God, I hate you.
Maybe so one.
The kind of like the heads up, like, hey, this is obviously done for comedic purposes. God has a sense of humor too. And I was like, oh shit, we're gonna get into some shit. So obviously at 13 years old, I was no dummy. I understood perfectly well what the message of the movie was. But I would always question religion. That's one thing that always bothered my mother. Because I was like, all right, so, I'm not going to get into it, but little things that I would just always question. And it was always that it is what it is, and you don't question religion, and this is what it is, and let's move on from the subject. That was always the conversation I had, right? So watching this movie, I was like, holy shit! It just kind of like mind blew me, and that's one of the reasons why I grabbed this film like this, and I love it. And even now, I haven't seen this movie in probably 10 years, right? I've seen it a lot, but I own it and everything, and I just never pop it in all that often. And I'm so glad you picked this movie. I know Kyle was like, "What the fuck?" Because he again wanted to see either and again, any movie you picked, I was ready to talk. I was surprised Major League didn't get a lot of love, because I do love that movie and I haven't seen it in a long time, and I wanted an excuse to watch it. It's not a bad one. I actually saw Good Will Hunting and Almost Famous last year, so they're fresh on my mind. But Major League, Sleepers, I saw last year as well, but I hadn't seen Dogma and Major League in a very long time, so I wanted to watch them again. And again, I go back. I love Kevin Smith, to be honest with you. You have to be a Kevin Smith fan to appreciate his films, or to get certain callbacks to certain films. But this movie has its callbacks to his other movies, but this is its own film, in my opinion. It's the one that really doesn't really connect to the Askew universe, if you will.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem. I love Kevin Smith as the person. I don't think I like his movies very much, and it's not even about the subject material. I can tell he's a good director. He loves his source material. He knows what he's doing. There's something about them where they feel like really well-made student films. It feels very grounded, and that people just put stuff together, and we went out there and we shot and we had fun. And I just don't really connect to it very much. And I think I told Jader this.
You should, as a student, as a film student.
I really
should. He does these movies for pennies, and they could evidently become successful. He has like a cult following, which I'm part of that cult. It is like, for me. My friend introduced me to him right before Dogma came out. He's the one that gave me Mallrats, and he's like, "Dude, you got to watch this movie. It's fucking hilarious." I saw it. I was like, "Man, this is awesome." Then I saw Clerks. Clerks, again, didn't resonate with me the first time that I saw it. I was like, "Yeah, Mallrats is way better."
See, I really like Clerks. I think Clerks is a great film, and that's the first one I saw. But then I immediately jumped into Zack and Miri Make a Porno, and I was checked out of Kevin Smith. That is not a good movie. And when you guys voted that on the top 10 Seth Rogen, that burnt me. I said, I'm done with Kevin Smith. You guys put Zack and Miri on there.
I fucking love that movie. I love that movie. I think
that is so not a good movie. That movie's bad.
I think it's so funny, dude. No. Justin Long in that movie alone makes that movie for me. Justin Long was so great in that.
I will die on this. Zack and Miri Make a Porno is not a good movie. And when it finally made the list, and I'm like, okay, I'll go and watch it just to see what it's like. And I'm like, people really think this is one of Seth Rogen's 10 best movies over Funny People? Like, get the hell out of here, you people. But anyways, Kevin Smith, great person. I'm just not big on his movies. So this is my first time seeing Dogma. I had never seen this before. I don't think this is a bad movie at all. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad movie at all. I think this movie's actually got something on its mind. You can tell it's got a lot on its mind, and it's got entertainment value to it. I can't get past that cheapness. You say that he makes it for pennies. I feel the pennies watching these films. And it's no knock towards him. It's just the way he makes his films.
It's how he makes his films.
They really do.
I've heard interviews with him where he wants to make big budget films, and the studios are kind of like, nah, right? But I feel like, I don't know, like it's weird to me that Kevin Smith gets denied this, knowing the love that he gets in films. Like, dude, James Silent Bob Reboot was literally made off the penny of fans. Like, he started a GoFundMe, and it was made because of everyone that contributed to make that movie. Like that's how that movie was made. Again, James Silent Bob Reboot is by no means it's one of his worst films, but it's how do I say this? Like, it's fun. It's exactly that. It's fan service. because I caught, just like you were watching Mandalorian and picking up those Easter eggs, that's how I was. There's jokes from Dogma, there's jokes from Jane for Silent Bob Strike Back, there's jokes from Clerks, there's jokes from Clerks 2. Like, he was firing at all cylinders, dude. And I'm like, man, movie's not that great, but I loved it because it was made for me. That's basically what happened, right? So for me, I don't know, and maybe the studio just is like, this is not the type of movies you make, and maybe that's why he's been denied, because it was out of his mouth. Like, he said, like, I have come with ideas, and they're like, maybe you should stick to what you do instead of us trusting you with this big budget film. Which I feel like, wouldn't you want to see a big budget Kevin Smith movie? Like,
well, don't forget, he got offered Green Hornet, and he turned it down simply because he likes making movies his way, with his guys, his certain way. And he doesn't want that studio he said this. He doesn't want the studio. When you're making a $10 million movie, you make it your way. When you're making a $100 million movie, you have to listen to 15 people above you telling you what to do. You have to send dailies every day to the heads of the studio. They don't like something, you have to change it. So that's really not the way he did it. So he turned down Green Hornet to do Clerks 2. I think that was a phenomenal choice. I enjoyed Clerks. Green Hornet sucked so bad. And I think Green Hornet
is better than Zach.
I think Clerks 2 is so fucking funny, dude. It is so funny. But have you seen Clerks 2? Kyle?
Who, me? Yeah, I've seen both Clerks. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
okay.
I was saying that Green Hornet's better than Zack and Mary.
You're crazy.
No, it's not.
You're fucking crazy. No, it's not.
But Kevin Smith, he's said before that he is now at the point where his career where he wants to make movies he wants to see, and he really doesn't care if people like them anymore. That's how we get movies like Yoga Hosers or Tusk, because no one's gonna make that. Steve just fired me. I've been fired twice this week, guys. But Kevin Smith, he's like you said, he's at the point where he's just making movies he wants to see, and he really doesn't care if you like them or not.
I do have to admit, I haven't seen Yoga Hoser, I haven't seen Tusk, I haven't seen Red State, which I hear is great. I haven't seen his last couple of films that weren't. See, there you go. I haven't seen the last couple of ones where it didn't involve the universe I know. You get me? Like the Ask You universe that I know, where it was something. I don't know if there is Silent Bob in Tusk or in Yoga Hosers. I don't know if they're in it, but I don't think they are, because if I heard that, I probably would have seen, just to support Jay and Silent Bob, because I think they're fucking hilarious, especially Jay. But today, actually,
Silent Bob guy.
No, I love Jay, man. I love how just out there he is and really doesn't give a fuck. Like today, I actually, funny enough, the scene where he tossed his Dogma, where he tosses Affleck and Damon out the train. He goes, "No, take it." It's like a callback to Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade.
See, like, I think a lot of the stuff that Jay does in this film would not work in today's day and age. Like, just going around saying that, oh, we're gonna have sex now, right? Like that, you can't put that in movies anymore. He
still does it in the new one. In Reboot, he still does it.
But nobody.
It's just the character he is. Yeah.
But let's. Any last things you guys want to say about this film before we jump into the categories?
I like it, to be completely honest with you.
Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about the religious aspect, because I think that's probably the most important thing about this film is the religion. What are your takeaways from this? Is this about questioning religion? Like, do you guys? I don't want to talk to you guys about what your personal religion is, but I want your opinions on religion itself. So, like, how do you guys view it? Because to me, I look at it as everybody can believe their own thing. I just don't like it when people try to push it on you, when they try to say, no, you're wrong because of this, or that they come door to door and say, have you accepted Christ in your life? Like, please just let me believe what I want to believe and leave me be with it. I'm not going to bother you. Don't bother me. But there are a lot of those people out there. So I want to hear your takes on religion. And Tim, I want to start with you. Like, what's your take on it? And then as far as this movie goes.
Yeah, this was definitely Kevin Smith's way of working through some stuff. You can tell he was working through some stuff that he believed in or not believed growing up a Catholic kid. I grew up a Catholic, but I had to make my sacraments. I made penance and my confirmation and all that stuff. But like with my kids, I'm not making them do it. I told my wife if she wanted to do it, that's fine. But I'm not going to push them. I'm not going to tell them every day if you don't do this, the invisible being's going to come down and kill you because you didn't do your homework or whatever. I said you believe what you want to believe. And I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely 100% fine with that. But like you just said, I don't care what you believe in. What's my one rule? No politics, no religion. I think that the two main causes for every major problem in the world right now is politics and religion. So I don't discuss them. I don't want to discuss them. Like I said, I don't care what you believe in. I believe in this. This is what I believe. That's it. Move on. Like you said, I don't care. Don't knock on my door Sunday morning. Ask me if I have accepted Christ yet, because I'll throw something at you. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Now, my mother would say, "Oh, well, your kids have to make, confirmation." No, they don't. Yes, they do. No, they don't. That's just the way it's going to be. If they decide they want to do one day,
I got the biggest shit because my kids haven't done their communions yet.
Yeah,
and my whole family's on my case, and I'm like, dude. Relax. I'm not. It's a whole different generation. Is what I told them. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it's not gonna happen, they're like, oh, he's gonna be walking down the aisle without me. I'm like, well, if he walks down the aisle and he does it in Catholic manner, he's gonna have to do that beforehand. So don't worry, it'll get done. I've seen people get confirmed and do their confirmation within a week before they get married. You're fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've been getting that as well. Yeah, I've been getting the exact same thing.
And actually, like I said, I know we have the whole quote, best quotes. but there's two quotes that absolutely that say it all, and I'll give them away right now. Rufus, Chris Rock, who was awesome. The one quote is, "Doesn't matter what you have faith in, just that you have faith. Your hearts are in the right place, but your brain's got to wake up." That right there is the world today. Yeah. I thought that sums it up perfectly. What I think of religion. And the other one was that Bethany asked him, "So you're saying that having beliefs is a bad thing?" And Rufus says, "I think it's better to have an idea. You can change an idea. Changing a belief is trickier." That right there is exactly.
I almost wrote that quote.
That's it. That's the religion. That's how I see it. Yeah. I mean, that's just it.
I don't think this movie is a whole full knock on religion. It's more of a don't take it so seriously. Like, it's okay to believe in what you believe in, but don't take it so freaking seriously. And that's what I loved about this movie. Because in this movie, there was belief, there was God, Jesus Christ, the apostles, everything was real in this universe, right? It was real. Just lighten up on it, dude. That's one of the reasons why I absolutely love this film. That's my quick takeaway. That's how I see this movie. And that's why I love this movie. It's more of a, it's okay to believe, just ease up on it and don't push it in front of people's faces. This is what I tell my mother. My mom's eased up a lot. I still have a very, very religious aunt that's like, told some of my cousins not to hang out with me because I started getting tattoos or because I listen to metal music and, on some stupid level shit where I'm like, and I'm by far, like, I don't feel like I'm a bad person at all. I feel like I have a big heart, in fact. And, it kind of sucks where I call them the Bible thumpers, man. It sucks to say, but the Bible thumpers, they're very, very, what happened? Oh, that's my dude, Dan. What's up, dude? Jader my VHS for almost favorite for the DVD. Yes. That's a shot at you, Kyle. But yeah,
I quit
the show. This is why. Oh man. But yeah, dude. So it's crazy how they're
why you guys can't anymore.
But going back to that, I feel like they're the most judgmental people here.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck, dude. Relax.
No, but like you say, Jewish people don't get tattoos because if you have tattoos, you can't go to heaven. Yeah, but your body don't go to heaven. Your soul goes to heaven. Who cares?
Our soul's clean, man.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. As long as you're a good person, who cares if you got tattooed on you? I don't care. That kind of thing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think about stuff like that.
Yeah, man. All right, let's jump into the
let's do these
Oh,
categories. Yeah. So first one. Well, actually, let's jump into best line because Tim already gave a couple of his. You want to say that second one again, Tim, from Rufus?
Oh yeah, I have like 5 of them. I wrote them all down just in case we repeated. The second one,
Yeah.
Bethany says, so you're having beliefs is a bad thing, and Rufus says, I think it's just better to have an idea. You can change an idea. Changing a belief is trickier.
Right. Okay.
Love
So
that
that's a great line right there. I'm gonna jump in one real quick. This is from Metacron, and he says, "You people, if there isn't a movie about it, it's not worth knowing, is it?" And that's kind of true because I feel like every big event that happens, they make a movie about it, but we forget some of the small things. And here's an example. I just learned about the Black Wall Street crisis that happened when Watchmen came out. I had no idea that happened in Oklahoma until they finally put it into a TV show, a popular TV show. But in school, they never talked to us about that. It's one of the largest massacres ever. I had never learned about that before. But with everything that happened in Wall Street with the GameStop thing, suddenly there's 3 movies in development now. So it is weird. And I don't know, like growing up in school, I was in the age where they're showing movies, and I feel like everything we talked about had a movie about it. But there's so much history being left out that we don't learn about because either there's not a movie about it, and if there's not a movie about it, people just determine that it's not important enough. And I think that quote is Kevin Smith kind of poking at that, saying, like, if there's not a movie about these things, you guys don't care, even though you should care about a lot of this other stuff. So to me, that quote really stood out to me. Jader, you got a quote
he actually follows through right after that where she mentions, I forget what I almost wrote it down too, but he's like, oh damn it, he's like if Charleston Heston isn't in it or something like that. He throws like a little Charleston Heston line out there, like following that quote. So I thought that was really good. I wrote actually I have my reason why I picked this one, but it says it's from Alan Rickman's character. It says, Metatron acts as a voice of God. Any documented occasions when some Yahoo claims God has spoken to them, they're speaking to me or talking to themselves. Love that line because I would always, again, told you, I was always questioning this and that and that. And I would always tell them, like, when you pray, you're just talking to yourself. I'm like, you really think he's hearing you? Like, it always gets so when they said that in the movie, I was like, that gift with Michael Scott, the thank you. Pretty much what happened when I saw that in my head. Because I'm like, and my mom got pissed because I heard this in a movie. I forgot which one it was. I'm like, oh, God's just an adult imaginary friend. And I heard that, and then I said it to her, and she goes, "You're so blasphemous! I didn't raise you this way." All this shit. It's pretty funny. But another line that made me laugh so freaking hard is where Bethany goes, "Were they sent to hell?" And then Metatron goes, "Worse, Wisconsin for the entire span of human history." It's a quotable film, man. It's really, really, it's so well written.
I like George Carlin when he said Christ didn't come to earth to give us the willies. Every time that's in the first 10 minutes of the movie, I could not stop laughing. I heard that. I watched
and the Buddy Christ thing.
I started dying laughing. Christ didn't come to give us the willies, and especially when you know George Carlin's beliefs, it makes it so much funnier. It just makes I was cracking up all morning. I was on the train watching this morning, dying laughing.
Honestly, one of my favorite comedians of all time. I think his specials, his stand-ups, and there's so much truth to what that man speaks. It's ridiculous. If you guys have not seen a George Carlin stand-up, please do it because that guy is fucking, ironically, like one of the gods to me in comedy. I think he's so fucking funny.
Very intellectual, though. I'm surprised no one picked
He's super smart, man. Absolutely. Which one?
Two obvious quotes. One, of course, is no pleasure, no rapture, no exquisite sin greater than central air, which I say every single summer when I put my air conditioner on. And the other one is mass genocide is the most exhausting activity one can engage in next to soccer. To another two of my favorite ones, Loki and Azrael. I love those two also.
There you go. Yes, Dan, you are my number 2 favorite stand-up comedian. Shout out to Dan and stand-up all the way from California joining us. Thank you for joining in, sir.
Dan.
But what do we got now?
Our best scene. What's your favorite scene in this movie? I'm going to start here. I'm going to jump in. I think my favorite scene is the scene on the train when you finally see that Ben Affleck turn, where suddenly he sees his purpose, what he wants to do, and he sees his enemy right in front of him. For most of the movie up to that point, he had been kind of laid back, let Matt Damon do what he wants to do, and I'm just going to assist in it. But then you see really the turn of Ben Affleck becoming evil at this point. And the whole sequence leading up to that fight, all the way up to Silent Bob just tossing him out the train. And I think it's just such a great sequence of events. Chris Rock showing up, and that's when everything kind of slides into motion. I think what I like about films a lot is that moment of silence where we get to the movie's been going at full speed and it just comes to a stop, and we're going to sit down with these characters and get to know them better. And that's what this scene is. And I think the scene's done really well and helps you really catch up with everything that you've learned up to this point. So I think the train scene's my favorite. Jader, what is your favorite scene in this film?
The scene, the first time we see Serendipity.
Of course.
For obvious purposes. No, I'm just kidding. That was a great scene, though.
No,
great scene. Brought me black from Dusk Till Dawn. No, it's actually a really funny scene when they're going, and then they get Jay and Silent Bob get the red bandanas. Their bloods now. But no, my favorite scene is actually when Chris Rock first shows up. It's just that banter with him explaining himself, and then when you see. Yeah, no. So yeah, that's where I was gonna go actually. Where Jay, the first thing he lands right in the asphalt, and Jay then because he's like no man's falling from the sky or whatever, and then he falls from the sky. He's like no big titty beautiful girls are falling from the sky, but then he goes kill it, and then Chris Rock wakes up and he goes that sounds familiar, but then after that she's like you knew Christ, and he goes you, and he owes me $12.
Which is an ad-lib line from Chris Rock. Apparently, Chris Rock just came up with that line on the spot. He's supposed to say, what was he supposed to say? There was a line, I read about it earlier. Supposed to say something funny, but Chris Rock just took it and decided to do the $12.
And then the Chris Rock thing. So that was funny as hell. And the scene that immediately follows that, when they're at the movies, and they and he's telling them that he's the 13th apostle, and that the reason the reason why he wants to is to change the everything that happened in the book, because Jesus Christ, right, is black, and he was black, but he's okay with being written off. Like, I don't know, that whole thing that's going on there, that for me was hilarious. But the first appearance by Chris Rock for me was amazing. So funny.
Tim, what do you got?
Mine takes place right after yours does, Kyle. Right when they're in the parking lot, Bartleby and Loki, and the transformation. You see that Affleck is Bartleby is so. Like you said.
Oh,
did we lose him? I thought it cut out for a second. Tim, there he is.
And now he's scared. What happened? Am I still here?
We missed you completely. And, start all over. Parking lot.
Parking lot where Bartleby and Loki are talking, and Loki is pretty much scared of Bartleby now. He sees the transformation, and he even says, "I've heard this argument before. You sound like Lucifer. You want to take on the throne. You want to fight a war against God. Fuck that. I'm not doing that." And Bartleby basically just says, "Yes, you are. We're going home. Yeah. No one's going to stop us." And I think Affleck deserves way more praise than he should have got for that scene. I think he was. I put this as one of my favorite Affleck performances as Bartleby, especially that scene where he flips out. I absolutely love that scene. It's my favorite scene.
He's not better than Batman in BBS.
Why did you say that?
I won't say nothing.
Loki.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. No, Affleck was great in this. I think everyone, at least main cast wise, delivered. I don't think anybody actually Bethany, I forget her name, Linda.
Wait, because there's gonna be a couple of criticisms coming up. This movie's not perfect, so I just want to throw it out there. But actually, let's talk about the cast over here, because I got a couple casting what ifs coming up. There's actually quite a bit in this movie. So originally, Kevin on the DVD commentary, I don't know if you guys know about this, but Kevin Smith says that Linda Fiorentino was so difficult to work with, and that he wishes that he would have casted Janine Garofalo instead of Linda in this as Bethany. I think that's pretty significant right there. And then, so there was a story that came out when after Kevin Smith had his heart attack, and he was ready to, and like a lot of people reached out to him, and Linda was one of them. And it was something that changed Kevin Smith's life, because he's like, I've always wanted to apologize to her for telling her that she was difficult to work with, because it kind of ruined her career in a way. As soon as you have that reputation for being difficult to work with, then you lose a lot of credibility in Hollywood. I mean, look at Edward Norton, who's one of the best actors out there, but he has to direct his own movie if he wants to star in something now. So
speaking of which, you mentioned Norton and directing his own film. When Kevin Smith, I was going to tell you, except if you're Bruce Willis, because Kevin Smith has clearly said that Bruce Willis is difficult to work with, but he's still getting work. But it's Bruce Willis, you know.
He's getting work because he's going to straight to DVD movies at this point. That's Bruce Willis's work. I got another one. Loki was written for Jason Lee originally, but his scheduling conflicts made him so he had to have such a smaller part. So that's why I ended up going to Matt Damon instead. Jason Lee, Ben Affleck, I don't think would be as
yeah, dude. No, that's awesome. I mean, no offense to Lee, because Lee carried Mallrats and all that stuff. He was great in Mallrats, but I like the Matt and Ben stuff. So that's good. Good stuff.
I got Kevin Smith wanted Robert Rodriguez to direct this movie, but Rodriguez said that no, this movie feels too personal. You have to direct it yourself. So I think that's good on Rodriguez's part. He recognized that. I don't think it would have worked as well if Robert Rodriguez would have directed it. Just would have, the tone and the pacing would have been kind of off, I feel like, if he ended up directing this. Let's see. Kevin Smith's first choice for Bethany was Gillian Anderson. Obviously, that didn't work out. Who else we got here? A couple people were supposed to be God. Emma Thompson was originally supposed to be God, but she ended up getting pregnant and was not able to do this film. And the baby was born the day after the movie came out in theaters. So I think
who?
Emma Thompson.
Oh, okay.
And then coincidentally enough, God was written with Holly Hunter in mind. So I guess God was a bigger role, and Holly Hunter would have been in it. I think that would have been funny too. For Rufus, Kevin Smith originally had Samuel Jackson or Will Smith in mind for Rufus, ended up going to Chris Rock. I don't think either one of those guys would have worked as well for Rufus.
No, Chris Rock kills it, man. Chris Rock kills it.
Chris Rock was fantastic.
Did you see the comment that Dan wrote right there?
One time I saw Kevin Smith on the first floor of a mall when I was on the fourth floor, and I yelled, "Hey, Kevin Smith," and he yelled back, "Don't spit on me."
It's funny shit.
That's funny. I got two more. Albert Brooks was offered the role of Cardinal Glick, but turned it down. Obviously, we got George Carlin instead, which I think just turns out so much better.
Yeah, perfect.
And finally, this is a big one right here. Bill Murray, John Travolta, and Adam Sandler were all considered for the role of Azrael. But the one that they give something on is Adam Sandler had to turn it down. He was super close to doing it, but Adam Sandler originally had to turn it down, and we ended up getting Alan Rickman instead. He just wanted a significant actor to be in this role. And I'm glad we got. So that takes us to the. Oh, go ahead.
It honestly, that's what I'm saying. And everything actually ended up working out in the favor of what we got. You know how sometimes you give us some casting and we're like, oh, damn, that would have been awesome. That probably would have been a little bit better. Like this one worked out perfectly where everything was set where it needed to be, in my opinion. Like this is.
Could you imagine Adam Sandler and Alan Rickman?
No, I'm imagining like Little Nicky. Like, no, fuck that. You know?
Oh wait, no, Azrael, Jason Lee, right?
That's Jason Lee's character. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm imagining Little Nicky.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
That's Jason Lee's character.
No,
it
wouldn't have worked.
Fuck that.
Not at all.
Wouldn't have
worked. Okay, so that takes us to the Mahershala Ali Award for Best Sharpshooter, the character that does the most in least amount of time. I feel like these next two awards are pretty obvious, but Tim, I want to start with you on this. Who's the Mahershala Ali Award winner for you?
Yeah, I think we're all going to pick the same people, but I'm actually going to go with George Carlin, I think. I'm just going to give it to George Carlin because he hooked me. Again, he's another one of those guys that hooked me. He hooks you right away. He's just so charismatic, so funny. He delivers all of his lines great. He said he didn't have a big part. He almost considered a cameo, which basically he was. But it was so just good seeing him as because if you know his beliefs, he believes nothing about God, nothing. Doesn't believe at all. He calls him the Invisible Man or the Invisible Friend, whatever he calls him. So I love the fact that he was in there and acting his ass off and Buddy Christ
as a cardinal, as a
cardinal, not even a priest, as a cardinal. And one famous thing Kevin Smith always said was before George Carlin died, he called Kevin Smith and said, "I want you to write a movie for me." Kevin Smith said, "Go ahead. What do you want it to be about?" He goes, "I want to be a priest that strangles 7 children." And Kevin Smith just went, "Okay." And that was it. That was the end of the conversation. That right there shows you how great George Carlin was. So I'm going to go with him.
That's interesting. Right. Jader, who do you got for this?
I have Alan Rickman. I think that was the obvious choice. That was the obvious choice, obviously. But I absolutely love every single scene that the Metatron is in. I think it's fucking hilarious. The part where she goes, "Don't rape me," and he fucking pulls his pants down. And he goes, "Fucking can't." Like that shit is so funny to me.
That was the other guy. That was my other one. I think it was one of the other.
The tequila thing always kills me when he's drinking. He spits it right back out just to get that flavor in there. I think that's so hilarious. So yeah, Alan Rickman, and he's great in everything. I honestly miss that dude, man. I miss seeing him on screen. He's pretty much fantastic in anything he does. So seeing him again, last time I saw this movie, he was alive. So seeing him now, and I'm like, fuck, man, like miss this dude. So definitely sharpshooter for me.
That was my biggest takeaway too. I went with Alan Rickman also. It's just he has such a presence on the screen that he can be doing anything, like taking your pants off and showing that you have no dick. And I still am drawn to what he's doing. So he was easily the winner to me. I missed the hell out of him because I think he's just like I said, such a presence on the screen. That takes me to the Bill Murray Award for best cameo. And I think we just flip-flopped him because I think George Carlin to me qualifies as a cameo. I don't think there's many. There's actually even a cameo in this film. But if we're gonna qualify anybody, I think it goes to George Carlin. He's in 2 scenes in this?
2 scenes. Yeah, that was my pick as well. I had him / Alanis Morissette more through default, to be honest with you, because she didn't speak a word in this movie, and I thought she was, she did her job. She did what she needed to do. She was in and out. But I had George Carlin written out first, just in case you're like, oh, it doesn't count. Then I would have had Alanis Morissette. Yeah. But George Carlin was actually my cameo.
Well, the Clerks guys too. Both Clerks guys were in it too as a cameo. So you could have picked one of them, but they didn't have big parts though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like, oh, is that the guy from Clerks? And then you're like, oh yeah, it is, and his scene's over already. Like by the time you're done looking it up, his scene's done. He doesn't say like 2 or 3 words at the gun shop. Yeah,
Jeff Anderson. Yeah, him and Jeff Anderson weren't getting along at the time, so I don't know how he ended up in this movie. Because Jeff Anderson,
Brian O'Halloran.
No, Jeff Anderson, the one Dante.
Yeah.
They weren't getting along because
Dante is isn't that Dante?
Not Dante. I meant Randall.
Randall, yeah, because Dante is Brian O'Halloran. Yeah,
exactly. I meant Randall. They weren't getting along at the time. He felt he should have got more money off of Clerks or something, and they weren't getting along. So I think Kevin Smith put him in this movie just to get a little extra paycheck to kind of make up for the money that he didn't get for Clerks. And he's still the problem today with Clerks 3. He's a problem that hasn't, as this movie hasn't been made yet. So
is it him?
Whatever. Yeah, it was always him.
That sucks. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like you're not a famous actor. You don't get to make demands. Okay.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're famous because of Clerks. You're famous.
You're Randall. You're Randall. Move on.
Yeah, man.
You get over yourself, Randall. Jeez.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we have the Gary Oldman Everyone Award for Best Overacting. I'm interested to hear what you guys go with on this because I think there's a couple options. Jader, I'm going to start with you. Who's your pick for this award?
They're not really main characters. It's just the skater dudes, the flies and all that. The demons, them. I think it was a little bit much. I don't know. I maybe it's not even overacting. It's you didn't give me anything. Like I wanted a little bit more out of the demons. But that was honestly my answer. I didn't really have anything for Gary Oldman. What do you got?
I say Jason Lee. I think he delivered all his lines with a little extra A little extra attitude, a little extra oomph, a little extra pronunciation of the words. So yeah, and
what are you gonna hit me with a golf club?
Yeah, I'm a fucking demon. Like
Fucking
the way he delivered all his lines was a little bit of an overacting, but I thought it worked and I liked it.
Yeah.
He was one of my backup picks. To me, this is Jason Mewes. Like he's just over the top every time he's on screen. Like
that's the character.
I get that's the character. It's too much for me, especially the scene where they're about to die and he's just breaking out the condom like, we're gonna fuck right here, right? Like you're gonna fuck me. So I mean, we only got a couple minutes left, so might as well. It's like, come on, man.
Well, she shouldn't have made him that promise. That's what happened.
Oh, so it's your fault, right, Jader?
Oh man, I don't know, man. Have you seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
No.
Okay. His character is cranked to 1,000 in that movie.
Okay. I don't think I can watch it.
I'm telling you that right now because it's nonstop in that movie. And he's so great in it. Because, oh my God, I love Jay, man. I'm sorry, bro. I love him. I love that character.
You have to, even if you just go to YouTube after this show,
the fuck song, bro.
You have to see Good Will Hunting 2.
Yes.
That's it.
Good Will Hunting 2.
Just go watch Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. It's the greatest thing you'll ever see in your life.
It's such a great cameo. We have to do Jay and Silent Bob eventually. I'll give you a break for now. But we have to get back to that movie because that movie was made again for the fans of the Askew world, but he literally puts everyone in that film. Every scene has a celebrity cameo. That would be hard to do a celebrity cameo for. A Bill Murray. No, not the reboot. The original Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. The sequel to the first part to Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Okay.
So many cameos. So many
cameos too.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, even more than the original. But still, like it's every scene you're getting something. Okay. But a lot of the jokes from reboot come from the original Jay and Silent Bob movie. So. But yeah.
I got a couple interesting details here. First was George Carlin. He lost his wife right before shooting this film, so he refused to remove his wedding band from his hand while he was playing the cardinal. So they put a Band-Aid over it instead, which is really sweet that he wanted it over. He didn't want to take it off because it's just something that he held very specifically. So I think that's a cool detail. And then the other two are from Ben Affleck, which just shows you how much of an MVP Ben Affleck is. In the gun store scene, you can see Ben Affleck pick up a knife, and then if you keep watching him, he cuts himself with the knife and kind of just puts it down and goes and recoils. If you go back and watch this film, you can see that in the back. So Ben Affleck actually cut himself with that knife while playing the scene, and they just kept it in there. And then finally, in the scene where Silent Bob is throwing Affleck off the train, you can hear Affleck saying Schuler Bob when getting thrown off. That's German for silent. And Ben Affleck just ad-libbed and threw it in there. And Kevin Smith's like, what are you saying? He's like, Schuler Bob. And he's like, what is that? Oh, that's German for silent. He's like, oh, okay. And they just kept it in there. So Ben Affleck's just constantly, he's putting in the work. He's looking for something new to throw in there. And I think he's one of the MVPs of this film. So that's a couple details I found. Takes us to Apex Mountain. Guys, is there any Apex Mountain qualifiers in here at the point in someone's career where they're at the top? I couldn't find any as I was going through this, but I want to hear.
I don't think so. To be honest with you, a lot of people argue that this is Kevin Smith's best film.
Okay.
All right. So a lot of people there is an argument to be made that is this Kevin Smith's best, right? It isn't for me. I don't think it's. I mean, I guess Linda Florentini.
Oh yeah.
This is probably her Apex. But she did Men in Black. Yeah, she did Men in Black, which I like. It would probably
she was nominated for a BAFTA for something. What was it? It was hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
I think she was in Jade.
The Last Seduction.
That sounds right.
The Last Seduction. Yeah, it's a movie where she got nominated for something. She actually got quite a few award nominations for that. So I feel like that probably would have been her apex.
I keep saying Florentini. It's Florentino. Keep fucking that up.
What
Yeah, The
has
Last
she done?
Seduction, 94. Dogma, Jade. Yeah, she was in Jade. See, I'm not crazy. With David Caruso.
Right.
No, see, I'd probably give this because I like Dogma more than I like Men in Black, but Men in Black is probably more successful than
Right.
Dogma, you know. But this is probably her apex to me because even in Men in Black, she had a very like her character came out in maybe like I don't know like 4 scenes in the whole movie. It wasn't too much, so probably go with her as the apex. To be completely honest with you.
It's probably the answer. If anybody,
Yeah.
it's probably her because it's not Ben Affleck, it's not Matt Damon, it's not George Carlin, it's not Jason Lee or Alan Rickman. It's even Kevin Smith or Chris Rock, Salma Hayek. None of them. This is none of their apexes. It's just a good movie where they all had a good time. They all gave it their best in it. But I don't think it was anyone's apex. I mean, Tim, do you have any opinions? Do you think anyone hit their apex in this film?
No, I agree. I agree 100% with that. She'd be the only one that I could really think of, point out. Everyone else had a lot of more, I mean, obviously, Oscar winners and stuff came out after this. So, yeah, I think she'd be the only one. She'd be the only choice, only logical choice.
Okay, so that brings us to our final pick. Who won the movie? And Tim, I'm going to start with you here. You're a guest. This is your movie. Who won this film for you? Who are you thinking of when you're done watching this?
Affleck and Damon, both of them. Like I said, I think this is some of their best performance. I know it gets shit on by a lot of people. But I think the two of them together in this one, obviously not better than Good Will Hunting, but I would put it right up close to it. Right, maybe coming very close. I absolutely love both of the performances in this movie. I like how they made the switch. You know, one good, one bad, then they switch, and Damon becomes this little puppy dog to this crazy ass Bartleby Affleck character at the end, you know, basically crying and like, oh my God, I can't believe what's happened. And so if I was picking a winner, they'd be I actually love them in this movie. I would pick them.
Funny. What is Matt Damon's character's name in this?
Loki.
All right.
Loki.
And he makes a cameo in a Marvel movie playing who?
Loki.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, I thought we had laugh tracks now, by the way.
Yeah,
that laugh was right on cue, and I was like, what?
And then
what in the WandaVision is going on?
Something else I read was that when Affleck kills Damon, he takes like a little dagger and puts into the side of him. In the first Avengers movie, you see Loki stab Thor. It's in the exact same spot with the exact same dagger. I didn't know if there was any connection there or it's just a coincidence. I think just it's like a cool little detail. Jader, who's your pick for this? Who won the movie?
I mean, well, Affleck was my choice, but I'm going to change it up just because we already spoke about him. But I feel like Kevin Smith also won here too. He did a hell of a film that obviously you even said Rodriguez noticed that it was very near and dear to him. He made it. It worked. Again, considered one of his best films. He got to work with his friends as he usually does. Made a lot of fucking money. Made a lot of people laugh. So definitely Kevin Smith for me.
Kevin Smith was also my choice for this. Just because like I've seen better work from Affleck and Damon, and I think going into this film, I thought they were going to be the biggest part, and they're only a side part for most of it. So everything comes together in the middle.
Yeah,
I think Kevin Smith, you can feel his fingerprints on every single scene that you go through. No matter what, he's always got a presence, whether he's acting or he's behind the camera. You can feel him having some sort of control over it. And this movie was successful. He, really established himself as a director that can do whatever he wants, and he can just, continue to move his career up here from here. He loves working with his friends. Adam Sandler completely took that formula from him and said, "I'm going to do that too." And Kevin Smith is just he's kind of a trailblazer in a way for this modern independent filmmaking movement, where we're going to do whatever we want to do. If people don't like it, that's fine. I want to see the movies I want to see, and this is one of them. And it's successful. I mean, look at it. We're talking about it 22 years later now. So yeah. That's Dogma, guys. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Jader and Kyle Show. Guys, thank you so much.
I had a little fun fact for you, bro. Sorry to interrupt. Did you know what this movie was originally going to be called? Did you know what this movie was originally going to be called or no? No? It's supposed to be
Was it Bear Claw?
No, God, the movie. And then he changed it to Dogma last minute, which I thought that was really funny. Actually, I was like, that is fucking funny.
Hey, look, what is
Dogma
coincidence too?
mean anything? Did I miss that?
Dogma it's like, what is it? Law? I forget the actual definition of it is, but it's an actual word. Dogma.
What does it mean?
Yeah. Like, does that have any significance? Did I miss that?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's something that seems true, I think, is what dogma means. Like if you believe a certain philosophy or religion, you believe in dogma, pretty much.
Okay.
By the way, look what episode number we are.
37.
And how many dicks did she suck? 37.
37 dicks. That is
nice coincidence.
Great.
Nice
Look
coincidence.
At that, dude. Look at that. 37 dicks.
Yeah,
we picked the right episode for you to come on. Oh, what a great way to end this. Kevin Smith and Tim. That's so cool, man. Like you got to meet probably he seems like one of the nicest people out there. Him or Keanu Reeves. It's one of the
I'm gonna put this out in the universe that I will meet Kevin Smith one day. I really, really want to meet that man.
You keep hanging with the Schmodown, man. You're definitely gonna meet him.
Yeah, man. So that's one guy that I really want.
I already told Faraj, if you guys ever get Kevin Smith on this show, I'm gonna barge in. You're not gonna be able to keep me away. I'm just gonna be hitting go until I get on the show with Kevin Smith. I've met him a couple times. Every time I've met him, he is fantastic. Nicest guy in the world. Talks to you, treats you like a human being, asks you questions. He is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life.
I feel like there's a strong possibility that we could get him on in the future, like because it doesn't seem too far fetched. Once you have some kind of contact with him, Jader, I feel like it's not too far off after that. So who knows what we can get in the future. But today we had Tim, and Tim, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a pleasure having you on the show again for your first full episode.
Man. A whole hour and a half of Tim.
I'm pumped up, man. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to it. Anytime you want me, I'm here. Guaranteed. Perfect. No questions asked. If I haven't seen a movie, I'll go freaking watch it. Anytime you guys want me, I'm here for you, man. I love the show.
All right, we appreciate it, Tim. And Tim, please plug your shows. Let us know what's going on. Where can people find different shows that you're doing?
Well, right now, most of them are on hiatus. We do the We Stomped You Out show for the Giants. We're on hiatus. We do the Empire 161, which is our Yankee show, on hiatus. It's also, we throw a little Star Wars in there just to go with the Empire name. We just started doing Pro Tunes. That's the new music show, but that's not just going to be me. Anybody can do that show. It's you can pick a band or an album, and
I'm pretty sure I'm on this Saturday for Pro Tunes. We're gonna cover Metallica.
There you go. And I said, me and my friend Keith just did the Doors debut album. We did that last Saturday. Hi, Nardo. How are you? Nice to see you. And what's that? That's it for now. I said everything's on hiatus, and then we do the wrestling show every Tuesday, which we didn't get to do this week, and that is the Just Too Sweet show. That's a lot of fun. We have a lot of ridiculous conversations come out of that show.
You didn't do it this week after WrestleMania?
Yeah, we had some issues. I'm going to shoot for it tomorrow. I'm hoping we get to do that show tomorrow.
Yeah,
but with the 18 feet of snow we had, Eric was stuck at work for 12 hours. I was shoveling, and I was just too tired. I was like, I'm not doing a show today. I'm going to sleep. So
gotcha. Heard.
You guys don't know about snow.
No, we don't. Not at all. Not
Absolutely.
At all. I love paradise.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Jader, any final words before we head out of here?
No, that's it, man. We got actually a pretty good schedule coming up, man. I'm excited. So just keep tuning in here, and that's that.
Yeah, guys, we got a lot of guests lined up. There's a lot of people that are going to be coming on the show. Pretty big names coming on, so we're excited about it. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Jader and Kyle Show.